Well, good. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another episode of Perceptive Learning Zone. And today's session, we are going to be talking about the extreme heat wave that is prevailing in Europe, as well as discuss its climate impact. So, Europe now is currently in the grip of a fierce and early summer heat wave, with temperatures shooting up to a scorching 46 degrees Celsius in parts of the south. Now, you have countries like Italy, Greece, Spain, and Portugal that have already recorded severe heat conditions, pushing both residents and tourists to take shelter. The intense heat has already triggered health warnings and fire alerts, with authorities across the region urging people to stay cautious. What's more concerning now is that the extreme temperatures are expected to continue into the next week, offering little to no relief. So, if we talk about France specifically, France is experiencing the brunt of the heat. In Marseille, which happens to be France's second largest city, the temperatures hit a blistering 41.3 degrees Celsius, the highest that was recorded in the country during this extreme weather event. And to help people cope now, the local authorities, they have made public swimming pools free to access, offering some much needed relief from the Mediterranean heat. Italy's summer was once celebrated for its charm, but now it is being defined by stifling heat and highly what we call unusual restrictions. Several regions, including Lazio, Tuscany, Calabria, Sicily, Puglia, and Umbria, they are planning to restrict outdoor work during the hottest hours of the day. The soaring temperatures have prompted Italian trade unions to urge the government to extend these protections nationwide. And emergency rooms across the country are already feeling the impact. According to Maria Gorino, who happens to be the vice president of the Italian Society of Emergency Medicine, there's been around a 10% rise in cases of heat stroke. Wimbledon in London also witnessed its hottest opening day on record on Monday, possibly breaking the tournament's all time heat record. And the current opening day high is 29.3 degrees Celsius that was set in 2001. The hottest day ever at Wimbledon was 35.7 degrees Celsius on the 1st of July, 2015. Now, tourists are reeling under the heat. On Sunday, Italy's health ministry placed 21 out of the 27 monitored cities under its highest level heat alert, including major tourist destinations like Rome, Milan, and Naples. In Rome, visitors were spotted gathering near shaded areas around the Colosseum and the Trevi Fountain using umbrellas as well as public fountains to cool off in the intense sun. And you observe similar scenes that are unfolding in Milan as well as Naples, where street vendors offered lemonade to tourists and locals alike, trying to bring some relief from the stifling heat. So, um, the way we see it, right? In Spain, you have locals and tourists who are struggling under soaring temperatures, with the southern city of Seville hitting 42 degrees Celsius. Other areas across southern and central Spain also experienced extreme heat. And southern parts of the country, well, they reported temperatures well above the seasonal average. And this is prompting officials to issue public health alerts as well as safety advice. Spain's Natural Meteorological Service, AMET, has said that June is on track to become the hottest on record since official data collection began. So, as temperatures in Greece climbed close to 40 degrees Celsius, a major wildfire broke out south of Athens last week. The blaze has, it's forced authorities to close part of the coastal road that connects the city to Saunion, which is the site of the ancient temple of Poseidon, a major tourist attraction. And to battle the flames, Greek officials deployed 130 firefighters along with 12 planes and 12 helicopters. Police has evacuated 40 people, and evacuation orders were issued in 5 different areas. Even Portugal, ladies and gentlemen, Portugal has come under extreme heat pressure. Nearly two-thirds of the country was placed on high alert on Sunday, with temperatures in its capital, Lisbon, expected to reach 42 degrees Celsius. Officials have also, they have warned of a heightened, exacerbated risk of forest fires across the region. So you got to ask at this point the probing question that what is behind all these severe heat waves in Europe. So, experts say that human driven climate change is playing a major role in driving the extreme heat that is sweeping across Europe, especially in urban areas, where temperature rise is even higher due to what is known as the urban heat island effect. This happens when heat gets trapped between the buildings, concrete, and asphalt, making cities significantly hotter than surrounding rural areas. Emanuela Pivetali is a researcher at the Italian Institute for Environmental Protection and Research, and the person explains that heat waves in the Mediterranean region have become more frequent and more intense over recent years. She told the Telegraph, and I'll quote, the heat waves in the Mediterranean region have become more frequent and more intense, with peaks of 37 degrees or even more in cities where the urban heat island effect raises the temperature even further, unquote. She also warned that things could get worse in the future. A further increase in temperature is expected, so they will all have to get used to these high peaks. Another factor now, fellas, that is behind the current heat wave is a high pressure system known as a heat dome. So this weather pattern, it acts like a lid, trapping hot, dry air over a region and causing the temperatures to rise steadily. As this heat dome moves towards the east, it's pulling in hot air from North Africa, making conditions across Southern Europe even more severe. This was a report by the New York Times. And a Lancet public health study that was published last year, it warned that heat-related deaths in Europe could potentially triple by the end of the century. Particularly, I'm talking about southern countries like Italy, Greece, and Spain. And that's a big if, yeah, even if world leaders manage to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, a target that was set under the Paris Agreement, the study found that the combined yearly death toll from heat and cold could still increase from 407,000 today to about 450,000 by the year 2100. In 2022, nearly 62,000 people died from extreme heat in Europe alone. And this was an estimate by the World Health Organization. So, what are the impacts of this heat wave? Well, first of all, heat exhaustion happens when the body overheats due to excessive water and salt loss. And this is usually by sweating. Now, most people will be okay if they rest in a cool place and drink fluids. But if someone can't cool down after 30 minutes, heat exhaustion can progress to heat stroke, which is a medical emergency. Heat stroke systems include a rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, you got confusion, you got seizures, and you even lose consciousness. Also, when days are scorching, ladies and gentlemen, and the nights do not cool down quickly enough, the human body can struggle to regulate its internal temperature. And the heart and kidneys, they work harder to keep the body cool. So this can aggravate existing health issues, including heart diseases, diabetes, as well as asthma. Heat stress is the leading case. It is the leading cause of weather-related mortality, according to World Health Organization. And Europe's aging population and the prevalence of chronic diseases are expected to raise heat-related health risks in the coming years. Bad air quality. So heat waves can worsen the air quality also by causing more intense wildfires and trapping polluted air in what European climate scientists have called a deadly combination. And air pollution, it exacerbates lung conditions such as asthma and raises the risk of heart attack and stroke due to increased blood viscosity. Also, this heat wave is going to have a negative impact on our mental health. High temperatures, fellas, they can lead to stress. They can cause irritability, anxiety, as well as cognitive impairment, particularly for young people with pre-existing mental health conditions. That's through a combination of interrupted sleep, physiological reactions to extreme heat, and physical discomfort, which researchers call a breeding ground for psychological distress in a 2023 review. Also, these heat waves can cause power blackout, they can disrupt transport, which can in turn compromise the medical services right at a time when people need care the most. So, heat stress also, it causes a significant drop in people's attention and judgment to detail. This was determined in a study by the Swedish Work Environment Authority. It can raise the risk of traffic as well as work-related accidents, particularly for people who work outdoors. So, how to cool down? Well, as per Ashley Ward, who is the director of the US based Heat Policy Innovation Hub at Duke University, overnight lows can be a particularly dangerous aspect of a heat wave. So it is good to find air conditioning. It would be wise, she deems, to find air conditioning at cinemas, malls, and libraries. At home, try to create a cool corner and sleep there so your body is prepared to tackle the next day. In humid places, just use a fan. Finding ways to stay hydrated and lower your body temperature are of paramount importance. You can do this by drinking lots of fluids, wetting your clothing, or pouring cold water or a cold rag on your hands, feet, armpits, and neck. And a portable handheld fan or a cooling vest can also help. Also, if a person is exercising, it is recommended strongly to avoid the hottest times of the day and bring more water than you think you need. And heat illness symptoms can vary by person, and medications or underlying conditions can also make it harder to regulate body temperature or notice you're getting too hot. So it is always a good practice to adhere to the safety precautions. That'll be all for now, fellas. Please stay subscribed to Perceptive Learning Zone for more illuminating videos on these matters. And thank you very much and stay blessed. Assalamu alaikum.